Rolling.
Get over here.
Yes, here I am. And here we are in Marrakech, Morocco.
Very fun, exciting city.
It's our first time ever in Africa, the continent of Africa. Obviously, our first time in Morocco as well. So we wanted to kind of maybe ease into Morocco, go to more of a touristy known area. So that's where we are spending a few days here in Morocco, the second leg of our European African tour. We came from Frankfurt, Germany, visiting family there, and now we're here in Morocco, and then we'll go to Barcelona from here.
Checking out the sights of Morocco. And a city much easier to get around than I think some of the stories said, but also easy to get lost in the different souks, in the different alleyways and shopping markets.
It's definitely a super vibrant city, vibrant place. Lots of activity going on at every single moment, and it's not for the faint of heart. You'll find you can get around here, but you just may need a couple of minutes or hours to get used to all of the madness that is Marrakech. But it's sort of a controlled chaos, much like what you would find in the Philippines or some other densely populated areas.
And this is an old city, built in 1040 or so, 11th century. Mm-hmm. So there's lots of historical landmarks and lots of historical alleyways. Obviously built long before vehicles, so this was horse, oxen, camel, donkey, push carts, things like that in the villages, in this village. So today, walking throughout the souks, there's lots of motorcycles and carts and people speeding through, as well as all the walkers and tourists and shoppers and all the vendors. So there's a lot going on in these narrow little passageways.
We just got lost.
We spent a few hours wandering in the Medina. We went off for dinner. Back over our shoulder there is the square in which we went to dinner and had a great dinner, but wandering back, a few left turns, a few right turns, and we explored many streets, narrow streets.
It's fine. It's just kind of a maze in the Medina, and throughout the souks, it's just really hard to find your way back. The problem was that I put in the name of our Riyadh Keshmara, and had that as a destination. Apparently there are two Riyadh Keshmara locations in opposite sides of the Medina. So first one we went to was the one on the other side that took us about, 20 minutes to get to.
This area that we're in, we've discovered today, is known as the artisan part of the Medina. The center of the Medina is very chaotic, very busy, with lots of drum rhythm music circles, lots of stands or stalls selling goods and services.
A lot of aggressive vendors.
Yeah. And this is a city known, or a country, but city, also known for haggling. So whatever price that they start with, I guess the trick is start at the other end of that price. So they say 1,000, you say 100, and you work your way towards an agreeable middle price, I'm presuming. We've already had one experience with the scarves of the haggling. Didn't really haggle with the food vendors. Restaurants are the price they print. So,
first day here, luggage was left behind in Frankfurt, so that was not an auspicious start here for my experience in Morocco or Marrakech. it's a beautiful city. You definitely need to have an adventurous spirit to come here, an exploratory nature to be here. For me, it's drained my batteries super quickly. Just, not getting run over by motorcycles in the tight little streets or alleyways, and not bumping into too many people. I did get hit by a bicycle that was being dragged by two people on a motorcycle. So luckily it was just the rubber tire that hit my leg. On our second day here in Marrakech, I booked a tour beforehand, before we got here through booking.com. A couple of tours. One was a day tour, historical and cultural areas of Marrakech. And then in the nighttime was the Medina by night.
Both were really good tours, but all with walking, which was good, but a long walking day, 18,000 step day.
The tour met up at the Café de France in the Jama El Fina, which is the main square here in the Medina of Marrakech. Medina means old city, which was built way back in the day, and then after that, they built outside of this walled area. And the tour mainly consisted of attractions in the Medina. So the first stop we had was the Bahia, which was a palace for the former vizier and his 4 wives and 24 concubines.
Oof.
And then it got transformed into administrative offices and quarters for when the French took over rule here in Morocco.
And just for a little context, those 4 wives each had 6 servants, and the king or the master had his 6 servants as well. And so then you had the concubines, the wives, the servants. So 4 times 6 is 24 servants, plus his 6 servants. A lot of people lived in this palace, really a palace. Big facility.
Bahia was named after the favorite wife, and that means it was the wife that gave him the first son.
Yeah.
The Bahia the architecture had different influences, so you had ones that were more Arabic, more Berber, and a couple two others Moorish.
Yep.
And you could see these in some of the door frames, or like the ways to get in. Some were square, some had arches, some had dome-ish shapes, and that's how you could tell what the influences were. Islam, that's what it was. Yeah.
So Morocco is an area that was invaded many times by different peoples, tribes. So there's lots of those influences from the Portuguese, the Spaniard, the French, the Romans, the Islams,
Phoenicians.
the Phoenicians. So lots of influences, and you can see that throughout the architectural style of the old city.
The cost to get inside the Bahia was 10 dirham, which is about €1.
Which is about $1 right now.
It was a crazy day. So everything was pretty much packed, lots of crowds. It's hard to move around. And that's true for a lot of the areas here in the Medina, especially. Just so many people. Marrakech is home to 4 million residents, and lots of tourists come here as well. So a lot of the attractions were very busy. It was just hard to get around. But you have to make sure you bring your patience when you come here, as that could really set you off. A few days ago, I was kind of in that space. So, just, be in a good space. Just accept the fact that it's a lot of crowds here. And if you're an introvert, maybe this isn't the place for you.
It's a good place for you.
Yeah, it's a good place for everybody, no matter if you're an introvert like me or not. It's worth exploring for sure.
Just wear really good walking shoes, comfortable, stable walking shoes.
Yep, there are a lot of cobblestones in the souks, especially in the Medina.
And you gotta be quick on your feet.
You gotta dodge a lot of bicycles and motorcycles, in the very narrow alleyways. So speaking of big crowds, our second stop on the tour was a cemetery, the Royal Cemetery, and we couldn't even go because the lines to go in were about an hour.
and a half.
Yeah, and for a place that our tour guide said that it would take 10 minutes to visit, an hour's
A lot of wait time.
Yeah. Then the last stop on the tour was the Kutubiyya, which is a very old mosque built around the 11th century as well. And it could accommodate 10,000 people for prayer. And in the religion, the men are in one side and the women are on the other side. It's pretty magnificent. Minaret. It survived the recent earthquake here a couple of years ago here in Marrakech. And most of the city actually survived, and there wasn't too much damage. The epicenter was about 90 miles away. You could see some areas where there's scaffolding to support the facades, and we did walk around. We walked by a couple of ruins,
Yeah.
but we're not sure if those were exactly a result of the earthquake that happened here.
In fact, there's one right here in our little neighborhood, right around the corner.
The night tour was
A little bit on the quiet side. Our tour guide, a nice gentleman, but soft-spoken, so I had a hard time hearing him amongst all the noise and chaos and all that. We did a walking tour through the main square, the Haïmine
Jama El Fina,
and then we went to the
Kutubiyya.
Kutubiyya.
And then we also went by a couple of shops that he had connections with. Obviously, I'm a sucker for product, so I went back earlier today to get some of that. And then
The new life, new skin product.
yeah, I was looking for some more linen shirts, but they didn't have that too much here. But he did score this. Oh, I forgot what it was called. Do you know what it's called?
Shukram.
This?
Shukram.
Okay.
I think is what they said. Shukram.
Okay. We'll ask our.
And it's made out of wool and cotton. And it's got little pockets. And a favorite feature. The new look for 2025. So this was a nice find for loungewear or for your local new shopping experience in the USA. This is our new look at the office.
I also scored a couple of scarves.
And we learned how to do the tying them off for the headband. And I got some new glasses.
Is that true? Whatever you just said?
Yeah, the 6 service.